This is going to be kind of a funny little poem. You'll have to understand that I named it Sentence because I wrote the whole poem in one long sentence. And it's also got a double innuendo there. I'm trying to warn people about the possibility and the consequences of losing the agricultural industry in the United States. Let's learn to learn from history. Once upon a time, in a country very near, lived a people with a government that never had a peer, for they'd based their constitution on rights of individual man, figuring if there was incentive, each would do the best they can. And in a brief and splendid history, they proved that to be true, and they prospered, and they flourished, and their country grew, and in their aspirations, they sometimes left a rutted track, and they grieved in anguish sorrow when they took time to look back, for dereliction and destruction were left behind them in their wake. But being smart and good and prudent, they vowed to do what it would take to restore, revive, replenish all that fell in progress way, and they learned repair is costly, but someone would have to pay, so they passed some legislation towards the obvious at first, because the wheel that gets the grease is the wheel that squeaks the worst. But they found that squealing cylinder attached to a great beast that provided for the masses, so their efforts left the east and they headed south, but not for long, then north to no avail, for the numbers and the politics would prove their efforts fail. So with sweat and time exhausted, they reckoned it'd be best if they'd throw the blame of all on the few that lived out west, where miles outnumbered people, and self-reliance still prevailed, and the train of thought that built the country hadn't changed or been derailed. And they overtook them easily. They weren't the type to organize. But then in a few short seasons, they began to realize that they hadn't helped the problem. Fact is, they made it all the worse, and new sores began to fester, infecting everybody's purse, for they lost a needed staple. And the initial problems took backseat to the snowballing dilemma that would lead to their defeat. So they tried to turn the clock back, but the chain had lost a link, and it soon became apparent that the ship was doomed to sink. And a country that could have had it all would die and fall amiss. And if there's such thing as a moral, I suppose that it'd be this: there's some simple truths we can't afford to sidestep or avoid. New paint won't save a house if the foundation's been destroyed.